Um, good afternoon. Giving praise to the Most High God. I thank Him for allowing me to be here today, to be able to just be able to express His word and just say some things. So in this video, uh, I wanted just to touch on the thing about what women feel as though that is their body that is right for them to be able to kill a unborn child. And the women knew the laws of God, that they know that killing is wrong. So the thing is this, right? It's all right for when a man kills another human being that he's given a life sentence, that he's not able to return home to be amongst his people. But you know, in the Bible, it condemns killing, period. So the thing is this, right? Anybody that kill any human being, God said they're supposed to be put to death. And that goes for man or woman. So in this world in America, women are obligated to kill a child and not have to suffer the consequences for it. So I just wanted to touch bases with the law, what God says in Exodus 20 and 13, thou shalt not kill. Exodus 21 verses 12, he that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. Genesis 9 verse 6, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for the image of God made he man. Leviticus 24 and 17, and he that killeth any man shall surely be put to death. Numbers, the 35th chapter, we read 16. We could take this all the way to 33, probably. And it says, and if he smite him with an instrument of iron so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And if he smite him with thorn, a stone, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if you smite him with a hand weapon of wood, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. But if he thrust him of hatred, or hurl at him by laying a weight, that he die, or in enmity smite him with his hand, that he die, he that smote him shall surely be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood shall slay the murderer when he meeteth him. But if he thrust him suddenly without enmity, or have cast upon him anything without laying a weight, or with any stone wherewith a man may die, seeing him not, and cast it upon him that he died, and was not his enemy, neither saw his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the slayer and the revenger of blood according to these judgments. And the congregation shall deliver the slayer out of the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to the city of refuge, whether he was fled, and he shall abide in it until the death of the high priest, which was anointed with the holy oil. But if the slayer shall at any time come without the border of the city of his refuge, whether he was fled, and the revenger of blood find it without the borders of the city of its refuge, and the revenger of blood kill the slayer, he shall not be guilty of blood. because he shall have remained in the city of his refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the slave shall return into the land of his possession. So these things shall be for a statute of judgment unto you throughout your generations and all your dwellings. Whoso killeth any person, the murder shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses. But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. Moreover, if he shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death, but he shall surely be put to death. And ye shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he shall come again to dwell in the land until the death of the priest. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Defile not therefore the land which ye shall inhabit wherein I dwell, for I the Lord dwell among the children of Israel. But if any man hate his neighbor and lie and wait for him and rise up against him and smite him mortally, that he die and fleeth into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood that he may die. Thy eyes shall not pity him, but thou shalt put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with thee. All right. So the thing is about this, right? A lot of these women right here that's out here petitioning, talking about that is their body and what's right for them to do with their body. Now, if you understood the laws of God, you will know that you really pretty much have to deal with situation according to the word of God, that you just can't up and just kill a life, right? So with that being said, God said, whoever kills a person, he shall die. Why is it that when women kill a child, that they are not given a sentence to be put to death? Why is it that when a man is different from when men take life, that we either given a death sentence or it's just we in jail for the rest of our life? It is no different. And see, if women understood the word of God, they would know that you can't kill a life just because, no matter what the situation is, because whether you're not with that man no more or you saying that you don't want a child, that goes against the laws of God. So, with that being said, how is it feasible for you to take a life, and when a man takes a life, that he's in the jail for the rest of his life? And this is the thing about women being able to get away with murder, because you are taking a life. Once a baby into your body, that's a human being. So I mean, I just went over scriptures and stuff about what it is that the Most High feel about killing people. And if you feel that it's all right to kill a person, then you pretty much have to deal with God, because God said, "Whoso sheddeth for blood, his blood shall be shed." That goes for women and men. No different. America allows women to take a life, and there's no consequences for them when they take a life. So it's all right for a woman to have a newborn baby within her body, and she get an abortion. That's a life that's been taken, right? But I just wanted to show this thing about Margaret Sanger, a woman who created Planned Parenthood. basically saying that black people should never have been born. Margaret Louise Sanger, 1879 to 1966, was a birth control, population control, and eugenics activist. She changed the world, but for the worse. By 1911, Sanger had moved to New York City, where she became heavily influenced by the anarchist, socialist, and labor activists. She began joining and participating in radical groups and causes. In March 1914, Sanger published the first issue of her own paper, The Woman Rebelled. Along with the providing information about birth control, Sanger wholeheartedly supported the use of violence to achieve political, economic, and social goals. Case in point, the Lexington Avenue bombing on July 4th of that year, a bomb accidentally exploded in Harlem apartment, killing 3 men and 1 woman. The 3 men were planning to bomb the home of industrial John D. Rockefeller, but the bomb exploded prematurely. The plan was devised at the Farrell Center an educational institution, which also served as the meeting place for a movement of radical Sanger lectured at the institution and was active in the movement. After the failed terrorist attempt, the Sanger wrote a commentary calling the deaths of a display of courage, determination, conviction, the spirit of defiance. She argued allegedly was a cowardice and a poisonous, respectively, a movement who offered apologies rather than defiance for the episode. Sanger urged those in the movement to accept the result and every act of revolt against oppression, including terrorist acts. She also published complimentary articles that defended the assassination of political or industrial leaders. The following months, August 1914, Sanger was indicted for inciting murders and assassination and for violating obscenity laws. But instead of facing the charges, she fled the country on a trip to England after the ship had entered international waters. Sanger instructed her supporters to distribute 100,000 copies of her pamphlet, Family Limitations. In February 1916, the charges were dropped. In October 1916, Sanger opened America's first birth control clinic, located in Bronzeville, New York. The clinic permanently closed a month later after Sanger was charged with maintaining a public nuisance in February 1917. She was convicted and given a 30-day sentence. Also in February 1917, the first issue of Sanger's journal, The Birth Control Review, was published. She was the review's editor until 1929 and used her editorial to promote birth control and eugenics for Sangers. These issues were inseparable. The word eugenic, which means well born, was coined in 1883 by Sir Francis Galton, a cousin of Charles Darwin. Positive eugenics was a movement that attempted to improve the human population by encouraging fit people to reproduce. Negative eugenics conversely attempted to improve the human population by discouraging unfit people from reproducing. The unfit people included the poor, the sick, the disabled, and the feeble minded, the idiots, the morons, and the insane, and the discouragement from reproducing included the use of force. Sanger rejected positive eugenics while embracing negative eugenics. She wrote, like the advocates of birth control, the eugenics, for instance, are seeking to assist the race toward the elimination of the unfit. Both are seeking a single end, but they lay emphasis upon different methods. She stressed the need to merge eugenics with birth control, adding eugenics without birth control seems to us a house built upon the sands. It is at the mercy of the rising streams of the unfit, and Sanger advocated birth control backed up by force, sterilization, or segregation to achieve her aim. Writing, while personally believing in sterilization of the feeble-minded, the insane, and the syphilitic, I have not been able to discover that these measures are more than superficial, determined and applied to the constantly growing stream they uh, of that they are actually means of meeting a certain phase of situation, but in achieving regards to these, as in regards to other eugenic means, that they do not go to the bottom of the matter. The bottom of the matter was to create a race of thoroughbreds, so the government Sanger concluded needed to apply a stern and rigid policy of sterilization and segregation to that grade of population whose progeny is already tainted, or whose inheritance of such exceptional traits may be transmitted to offspring and give certain di- dysgenic groups in our population their choice of segregation or sterilization. This is what this woman did who created Planned Parenthood. And if you read up in here, it'll tell you that right here that she believes certain race groups should have never been born. And in 1939, Sanger went to work cultivating a garden. She initiated the Negro Project to weed out the unfit from the black population and bringing birth control to then largely poor, unfit population of the South, with a few influential black ministers promoting the project as the solution to poverty. Sanger hoped to significantly reduce the black population. Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King Sr., as the eldest son of 9 children born into poverty in a family of sharecroppers who had made the perfect target for elimination. But his birth had already taken place. In her later years, Sanger still believed that there were people who never should have been born at all. In the 1957 review with Mike Wallace, she said, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically delinquent prisoners, all sorts of things that's marked when they're born. That to me, that's the greatest sin that people can commit. Sanger impact during her lifetime was highly negative and included the cruelty forced sterilization, which became a common practice in America. Over 60,000 people were sterilized against their will, and most occurred during in the 1930s and the 1940s when Sanger and the birth control and population control movement were pushing states hard to enact and enforce compulsory sterilization laws. Among the victims were the blind, the deaf, epileptic, the mentally retarded, the mentally ill, and people with low IQs diagnosed as feeble-minded. Sanger legacy today, which is being carried on by Planned Parenthood, includes the devastating impact of birth control on the Black community. Planned Parenthood has continued the practice of targeting the Black population. Over 30% of all abortions are performed on Black women, and close to 40% of Black pregnancies end in abortion. Planned Parenthood successfully created a public image of an organization working to help the poor while hiding the reality that is target the vulnerable that was Sanger's plan from the start. So right here, the women who aborted children, you are at fault for feeling as though that people's not ready to have children, but then stop having sex and have sex when you're ready to get married. That's it. That's all. Get on my nerves with this stuff. Say la.